to just go ahead and get it cracking right now. On May 31st, 2023, there was a shooting. A gunman opened fire at a shopping mall in Allen, Texas, killing 8 people and injuring 7. Now, this stuff is happening in shopping malls, man.
It's happening everywhere.
What can we do to stop this gun violence that's happening in America today?
I mean, that's coming from a dark place. I mean, this country was built on guns. You go back to the Second Amendment or whatever the case may be. Hell, I'm a gun owner. I'm a believer in the Second Amendment. I mean, I got an AR-15 at the house. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I mean, it's built in the culture, and the lawmakers have to come up with better ways of having responsible gun owners. Pass the laws that need to be passed, common sense laws, get the NRA out of their pocket, the whole 9 yards. That's the way you're going to stop that, plain and simple. It's not a hard fix. You can own guns in this country and be responsible,
No doubt.
But the guy, Mauricio Garcia is the name of the gunman that was there. There's no way that this guy should have been able to get the weapon that he got to walk in there and cause that travesty.
Yeah, so that's a big thing that they're talking about right now, especially in Texas and in the United States. They're talking about focusing on mental health.
Yeah.
Right? Like, why this dude shouldn't have got the gun. But, I mean, mental health is one component of the problem. It's not a holistic way to solve the issue. Like, how do we get at it where it's like, I mean... It's hard to say, man. I mean,
mental health sounds like an excuse they come up with when they don't want to really face the issue. It's a mental health problem. Like, nah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's bigger than that. You got people that, own guns and they want to keep, and they warp the Second Amendment to try to do that. The Second Amendment was made, when the British ran the country and we wanted to have guns because we didn't want the British to bust in the house and be able to shoot us. Now people want to utilize that for what? That's built out of fear. And that's basically what it is. I mean, okay, you want to have a gun to protect yourself, whatever the case may be. I like to go to the shooting range, shoot guns. I'm a fan of guns. But when an 18-year-old can go to a gun show and buy an AR-15 and modify it and make it into a weapon of destruction, there's a problem. And that falls back on the legislation.
Right.
Definitely want to agree. I come from the aspect of I like research and data. What does it say? So first of all, what is causing gun violence? Exposure to violence in one's community is low sense of community safety, unsupervised access to guns, involvement in risky community behaviors such as drug dealing and contributing, of course, to use in adults, and gun carrying and gun violence. So why don't we address as far as the root causes? Once again, if you feel safe in your community, I don't feel like I need a gun. Once again, I do respect the fact that people like guns for recreational activities. But again, I don't own a gun. Why do I not own a gun? Because I feel like as far as if I'm inviting violence into my surrounding areas, then that's a contributing factor. And again, no disrespect to anybody who carries a gun. Also just looking at, like you said, common sense laws. Why do we have certain guns that we are allowing as far as our youth and adults to carry when we know what a gun is used for? What is their primary purpose? And what are we doing and how are we serving our communities?
Yeah, their primary purpose is to kill people.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what they make it for.
Exactly.
That's exactly what they made for.
Yeah, you're not using that for any other reason.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And hunting, come on, man. Like I go to HEB. I don't hunt meat like that. And even people who go and recreational hunt deer or whatever the case may be, which I think is crazy. But that's another show. You got them to kill somebody. Why do I have my gun? I got it just in case somebody, whatever reason, I get an incident. Why did I buy bigger guns now? Because I believe the society is rolling toward that.
So you basically feel like you're in an area or a community that is fostering violence. So therefore, you need something in order to protect yourself.
Yeah, I think that in this day and age, you should have a gun because we're in a gun culture, especially in Texas. People can carry, they don't even need a license anymore or anything. They're not even regulated. And and unfortunately, we're going back to the Matt Dillon Western days where, if somebody draws down and you pull a gun and, we hear it all. I don't want to be a victim because I didn't have a gun. You know what I'm saying? So
Right. So being risk adverse. That's why I'm risk adverse. So I try not to put myself in situations, but I do recognize that if we all carry a gun, then we're putting our situations where we're constantly being subjected to violence.
exactly.
And I think that's what the primary problem is.
That
Because
is
now
the
we're just
problem.
adding to guns, we're adding to the violence, and therefore, as a community, we no longer feel safe.
You're right.
And
I
at
agree
the
with
end of
you
the
on that.
day, man, we can be risk averse, but it's just like driving your car. Like you drive down the street every day and you watching, you making sure nothing's happening to you. But anybody can rear end you. Anybody can come blindside you and hit you. You may not be aware of the situation, right? And it might just come up on you. And when it does, are you prepared? Like you said, do you have something to protect yourself?
Insurance.
Right. You got insurance. Basically, that's
Right.
it, right? You got insurance to protect yourself from those car wrecks. What's your insurance against somebody else with a gun?
A gun.
Exactly. So I mean, even though I'm in a household where I better not bring no gun in here.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Yeah.
Look, that ain't happening. But at the end of the day, I understand that because of the fact that we're taking an avoidance stance against that by not having a gun in the home. Like you said, not inviting violence into the home. We're taking that stance. But because of that, you have to have other factors that you're considering to make sure that you keep yourself safe. We got cameras all around this joint. We
Yeah.
got like other things that we're trying to do. Will that make us safe against someone else with a gun? It depends on how diligent we are to those other factors and those other security things that we have in place. So at the end of the day, man, this dude, going back to Allen, Texas, he jumps out his car and he just starts shooting through like glass windows and shooting in the stores and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Like, there's nothing you could do. Like you said, you can have a gun.
Yeah, but who's carrying a gun to the outlet malls? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
It's like,
You're going to get some
know.
shoes, bro.
You know what I'm saying? You're looking for a discount. You ain't
Yeah.
you ain't out there, strapped up or nothing like that. But I mean, let's dig into Mauricio Garcia, and I did a little research on the guy. This guy was a proclaimed white supremacist,
Right.
even though he was Latino, and that's just crazy to me.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's another show right there.
that's another show right there. And when you're reading into this guy and you start looking into it, one time a guy walked up to him and they asked him, "Are you Hispanic?" And this guy said, he said something like to the point like, "Don't remind me," pretty much. Like,
Wow.
I am. So that you're right. That's another show. But what makes this guy walk into a mall, and shoot up a place? I mean, he got kicked out of the army. He was literally a disturbed human being. But I don't call that mental health. I just think that he was just disturbed. And it's unfortunate that there's people like that that's evil. But once again, we protect the Second Amendment right.
Right.
Why? Not because we're violating them, because some politician down there has the NRA in their pocket, and they just make bad decisions when they could easily prevented this guy from getting an AR-15 and mowing down the Cho family and killing their 6-year-old boy. Oh no, the 3-year-old and leaving the 6-year-old
Yeah,
alive.
6-year-old,
You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? So it's just crazy, man. So it's a topic that needs to be addressed, especially here in Texas. Abbott doesn't care, come on, man. Uvalde didn't do anything. Nobody really paid the price for that under his administration. We actually elected him back.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the Allen, Texas shooting, and guess what? Ain't nothing happening with that, And once again, Texas is a free-for-all. I understand what you're saying, and it's avoidance. I mean, in a day and age, I had that. But as I start looking at the surroundings and where we're going, it's just pointless because Texas is the one place anybody and everybody can have a gun at any time, and anybody can shoot you. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
that's sad, and and that's where we're at.
I think we're in a culture of like anger.
Fear.
Everybody out there is angry or afraid or both, right? It's crazy how we look at things and you see road rage every day out there on the streets. These people driving like fools, like people getting into fights at baseball games with little kids and stuff like that. We're in a culture of anger, fear, and we are also living in a place where, to me, you bring up the point about mental health. I'm sorry to say this, but unless you killing somebody because of self-defense,
Yeah.
I think you crazy. If you kill it for any other reason, you kill it because you want money, because there's always an option. There's always an alternative to anything. Killing is that's the last result, man. Like, you can't come back. You can't bring nobody back from that. So if you feel like, hey, I got to kill this dude, and they're not endangering your life, I'm like, there's something wrong in your mind from jump. So mental health to me is just, like you said, an excuse. That's just an excuse.
Yeah. And there's some disturbed people out there. So I don't want to talk down mental health. Understand that people have real life issues. What I'm saying it's used as an excuse is to the point where we know for a fact in certain situations, let's call it out, race. Oh, they got a mental problem. That's the first thing coming out of the news flash. But if it's somebody else, black, they criminals. Quick question: what happened to the brothers that I don't remember this, and I'm getting off topic, and I don't mean to, but when my man when the policeman beat George Floyd, that cat was out for like 2 years, went to Disneyland, did all kinds of stuff. What happened to them brothers that beaten, unfortunate, and killed that one brother? You know what I'm saying? When the black dudes did it, them dudes was locked up immediately. We don't even know where they're at right now. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, getting off topic, just that double standard is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about mental health. You know, we use that casually when we want to as a society. So that's why I said it's an excuse. No, this was a warped Hispanic guy that thought he was a white supremacist. He had a drawing that said, fork in the road. Am I going to be black or am I going to be a white supremacist? What are you talking about? You're Hispanic. That's a whole culture, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right,
You got a whole road
And
that's a
pan
on your own.
That's a pan culture, which means you have Hispanics that are black, white, Latino, Asian.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So what are you talking about? Are you black? Are you white? And you pick white supremacists? You pick Hitler and the Nazis? Bruh, you're not invited to that party, bruh. I hate to tell you.
They don't want you. They don't want you in it.
If they do want you, it's a trick. It's a trap.
Yeah, exactly. They're going to use you.
Yeah.
Right?
So, that's when we fall into mental health and all that's conveniently used for people. I mean, of course, there's something wrong with them, you know, but we have a whole bunch of people in prison that got something wrong with them.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So,
and that's a good point, man, because like you said, like, they'll use stigmas against a black man, like, oh, they're just violent. That's what they are. Like, but if it's white guy, Hispanic guy, oh, mental health.
Mental health.
You know what I'm saying? Black guy, nah, that's just them. That's the innate. That's their animals. You know what I mean? Crazy.
Right. Well, we do have to look at the anomalies. I would say, like, this type of situation, yes, it's going to happen. What can we do to solve it? These ones, I don't think there's anything we can solve. If they're crazy, they're crazy. They're going to kill somebody. But as a whole, as far as America and gun control, is something that we can do as far as having some preventive measures that are in place. Anomalies are going to happen, unfortunately. And mental health is a thing. A lot of these kids, I see them every day, they have no coping skills. None at all. They go from 0 to 10. So again, a whole nother conversation. So it does exist. Right.
In the day.
Yeah.
For that.
Yeah. So and youth, they grow up to be adults. So if we don't train them while they're young, this is what happens. And it's going to continue to happen if we don't address some of the concerns that we have.
And I know we're going to wrap this up, but just to jump in real quick, when you talk about generational, we raise these kids on some violent video games. And I hate to say it, shoot, my kids, same thing. So I think that dumbed down the situation when it comes to killing somebody in guns.
Right.
You play,
it does. TV.
You play Call of Duty all day long, and you
Sensitize.
you play what's the other one, Grand Theft Auto, and when you're walking around and you're shooting people, it just shows you or it builds that culture where that's nothing to where you're taking a life. I used to tell my sons when I used to play a game, you can't respawn in life, bro. You're dead, you're dead.
Yeah.
It's over.
But now these guys are these adults now in their 30s. These kids that grew up on these games,
Right.
and I just think that they're quick to grab a gun, and I know I go to the range, I see them and shoot somebody, and I think of what the end result is on that. You know what I'm saying? That's permanent. Right. You know what I'm saying? So I think that falls into that category also.
Definitely agree.
That's a great point, man. But sometimes I think that we leave other types of media out of that conversation. For some strange reason, we'll say video games, but the same thing's happening on TV and movies. Like, think about Avengers. They
Yeah.
they snapped away a whole half a universe,
Yeah.
and they brought them back 5 years later.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that don't happen.
Let's
Like,
make believe,
yeah,
bro.
that ain't real. You can't just come back 5 years later and everything be all right. You just jump back into your life where you left off.
Yeah,
you know
let's
what I'm saying?
let's make believe, man.
Yeah,
Work
man.
like
So
that.
it's crazy, but there are a lot of things that we find, and my point is this: if the money is there in the industry, they'll leave you alone. Like
Mhm.
guns itself, NRA,
Guns.
they got their pockets into everything. It's like if you a politician, you know the NRA gonna come knocking at your door.
I think Lucifer runs the NRA. Like that's just him. He runs NRA. He runs Walmart. You know what I'm saying? Those two things, that's him. You know what I'm
Bad
saying?
healthcare.
Like they got another person there, but it's a dude in a red suit somewhere that runs the damn NRA. Like how many people gotta die before they like we gotta change something?
Yeah, man, this
You
is
know what I'm
over.
saying?
Like we done with you.
Like
I don't
like
care how much
why
money
is
you got.
Ted Cruz taking that money, man? Like, what are you doing, man?
It's
Is that-
money over life.
have you seen the devil? Like, just tell me. Lucifer runs it. And
Let
we'll
me
be
know.
done with it.
Hey, they got them under their thumb. It's not only
Something.
money, man. It's something else. It's
Something
gotta
else,
be.
man.
Money's the
Like,
root of
why ain't
all
Walmart
evil.
out of business? Walmart used to be the place you get anything
Mhm.
24 hours. Now you can't even do that no more. They still in business.
Yep.
Stock's still good.
Wow.
And as much as I don't like Walmart, you end up in a damn Walmart. Don't you? Be like, man, goddamn, I need these safety pins right now. You know, the only person got it is Walmart.
Walmart.
Yeah, because the devil runs it. That's why. That's his company.